Oh, no worries. That's great.
We are just
Hey,
about to
Or
go.
without me, you don't need to work.
If you'd like to get in.
I'll sit over here so I can actually see people.
But then we can't see
my
can't see you on camera, I don't think.
Sorry, I just finished a interview on what's happening in Salem podcast.
Yeah.
It's already live. You can go take a look.
Sorry.
Okay. So we can't see you on our screen.
Started at 9:30 and it went super
Here, you
late.
wanna come over here?
No, I'm good.
We can't see you, so.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry.
No, I'll go there.
Well, shoot.
I'll go
I thought I could actually see my peers for once. It's so weird to be in a format where you can't even like.
Sit here.
Should I get out of the view? This is great.
No, you're fine.
You're all good. Yeah, it's all good. Oh, but-
So I'm alternate today, but if I get your form, I won't be voting.
Understood.
Okay,
Morning.
hi there. Got that.
Okay. Morning. All right, let's see, it's 11:06. Is it still morning? Isn't it? Good morning, everybody. My name is Mickey Varney and I am chair of the City of Salem Climate Action Plan Committee. It's Wednesday, January 14th, and as I said, it's about 11:07. Other committee members here, please introduce yourselves.
Good morning, folks. Vanessa Nordic, Salem City Council, Ward 7.
Counselor Nishioka, alternate for climate action plan.
Excellent. And
Well, thank-
online. Go ahead.
Yeah, Paul Tegan, Ward 1.
Well, welcome, everyone. So today, do we have anyone signed up for public comment? Okay,
Unless Lucy wanted to give public comment today. You're not hearing that, so.
okay.
No, thanks.
Okay, well, you're welcome to if you'd like to. Thank you for attending. Thank you. Yes. All right, so first of all, we need an approval of our December 15th, 2025 meetings.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes from the December meeting.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded, so all in favor, say aye.
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 All right, motion passes and the meeting's minutes have been approved. So next on our agenda, we do have a fairly brief, shorter agenda today. So next is a presentation of the CPACE program. I'm really looking forward to hearing about this.
I'm gonna just give you a little bit of context. It's not gonna be as much of a presentation and rather a conversation, I'm hoping.
Okay.
Because, well, multiple reasons. We're not really at the point of getting ready to go to city council. We were hoping to make it to the 26th meeting. And that is, we're not there. However, I feel like we'll land in February, so we'll make it to February.
Okay.
And I felt like I didn't want to lose the momentum. And so I was thinking we could really benefit from having a conversation about how the CPACE program intertwines and helps impact the climate action plan.
Okay.
So kind of digging in a little bit into the details of.
Sorry, you might want to introduce for the people watching what CPACE stands for.
Oh, thank you.
And yourself, so.
Yeah. Thank you, Robert.
You're welcome.
It was funny because you were, right as we started, I was like, I want to need to know what that acronym is. And, because we say CPACE so much,
It makes sense.
thank you. Dana Klein, the Assistant Director of Urban Development for the City of Salem. 31 years in Portland, sorry, I'm here, really. So CPACE is the Commercial Property Assessed Clean Energy Financing Program. So we call it CPACE for a reason, because it's a lot of words. It is it's a program that was enacted by the federal government and then adopted, and then each state gets to decide if they're going to also allow the tool to be used in the state. Because of our taxing situation in the state of Oregon, it has to go down to the next level, which means it has to be adopted by municipalities, either cities or counties.
Okay.
So there are states in the United States that do not have to go through this next level that we have to go through. And in the state of Oregon, we are at about, I think there's somewhere around 8 municipalities that are now utilizing the tool. City of Portland was the first with Multnomah County. And that was maybe 10 years ago, 8, 9 years ago, somewhere around there. So I kind of love the fact that we're doing this now because they've kind of figured out the process. There's a lot of tools out there within the municipalities that in Oregon, and we now have a cohort of administrators of the program that meet. I think we're at about quarterly now, so we're starting to kind of talk together, which is great.
The
So
different municipalities.
the different, yeah, so.
Okay, that's.
Yeah, so exactly, so Washington County, Deschutes County, Clackamas County is just starting. Corvallis and Benton County. Of course, Portland and Multnomah County. I'm missing a couple.
Class up.
Yep, that's up. So
what is it?
So what is it? Exactly, exactly. So the tool is, it's a financing tool. What I like about it is it allows access to capital for the city, in the city, but it is not coming from money from the city. So that's really key. We do not have money into it. There's some staffing time into it, but there isn't any we are not putting money into it. So there are certified funders that they have to get approved to be, they have to fit a criteria. And they're giving the loan. And the loans are actually, it's an interesting tool because a lot of the financing for commercial properties have been slowing down in today's economy. This particular tool does not appear to be that. It is being funded largely by insurance companies. That's how they're investing their funds, which is interesting. And so there's a pot of funds. We are just not allowed to access it right now because we don't have the ordinance in place. So we're trying to get the tool set so that we can allow lenders to bring with applicants a project to the table. We have to do a benefit lien. So it's similar to taxes, but it fits below the taxes. So we are not subordinating to, it's not it doesn't get paid before taxes. But it does goes above the primary lender. And so you have to get approval from other funders. Like if you have a primary mortgage, they have to give authority to allow us to subordinate. So it's an interesting tool, but what it allows us to do is help encourage, which is the reason why we're here. It allows us to do really specific climate action projects. So, and encourage people to go above and beyond requirements and fund, and not, get kind of have challenges with funding. It is it can be amortized up to the life of the improvement, which is typically 30 years. So it helps the cost of money, because the payment is a little less. But it also is helping the building be more efficient, right? And so all of that together can really help a developer. But access to capital, I think, is really the key for us. When I was thinking about what would be most helpful from the perspective of this team, this group, is really around like, okay, really want to kind of talk through the, understanding of what the eligible projects are. And then, and then the participating, there's I'm just giving you a couple subsets of the guidebook. So the subsets are the ones that I felt like are kind of key to this team. So, there's what the projects are, and I've highlighted those in this spreadsheet or in this document that I've given you, just so you can kind of walk through them. And then how you determine whether you meet the guidelines, the requirements from the state is they have to be reviewed and certified by a certified consultant. What most municipalities do is they require the lender to hire that consultant to verify and document that the qualified kind of auditor. Yeah. It does allow us to accept a different professional based on, but I don't think I would do that in conjunction with Juliana if there was a reason why we would like, oh, that person doesn't fit into any of these categories, but we feel confident. But I feel like it's just kind of important that we have the funders do their due diligence and make sure it fits the criteria. And we're not having to really help our staffing. I don't want us to get into the weeds of it. I think that we need to be able to, yes, we can help you the lien at the municipality level. But the funding and the qualifications and the details needs to be at the funding providers. Provider.
So you just mentioned criteria. So what are the criteria? Because I see it says qualified improvements means a permanent improvement affixed to the real property that must meet at least one of these criteria. Could you go through the or
So we have the renewable energy improvements and efficiencies. And so it goes through that the last 2 pages. And then who has to be who can help be the licensed professional on that. And so that is the certification needs to state like the qualified improvements will either result in more efficient use of conservation of energy and water or reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. And in the addition of renewable resources for energy or water. So like it's really kind of specifically like, are we getting better development, right? And then here's all the people that could do that certification for us. And so making sure that we're not just funding a standard, we're ensuring that we're getting some energy efficiency in the building more than what would typically be developed. It helps a lot because it does help all, we can literally do the envelope of the building. So, it helps with the insulation and the windows and the HVAC and the lighting. It's really a lot of the building can be a part of this project. And there is some time frame on like you can do it for projects that have been built within 3 years. So if you have someone who's having issues with financing and they meet the criteria, they could get financing. They don't have to be a new project, but it's a 3-year gap. So it's not like we can do something that someone needs it for 10 years ago or something like that. So you have the renewable energy improvements. You have the it feels like there's one that's missing on my paperwork because there's a water efficiency.
Yeah, that's in that first section, and I started that decreased water consumption. So you could be providing fixtures that reduce flow like a shower, or opportunities for better toilets that don't waste so much water in their flushing.
Yep.
Things like that.
Yep, exactly.
Or it can improve landscaping, things like that. for one of the things that I think is really important about what this can do for the climate action plan is a lot of the energy consumed in almost all cities is from existing buildings. And while we have incredibly efficient new buildings and the building codes are getting more and more aggressive and they are providing extremely efficient new buildings, our existing buildings lack that efficiency. And there hasn't really been a good nexus for building owners who are often not the occupying entities of the buildings
Right.
to enact some efficiencies. They aren't paying the utility bills. However, with the upcoming House Bill 3409 and building performance standards that comes into place in starting in in July of 2028, there will be a impetus on building owners to be meeting these building performance standards. So aligning funding at this point would give building owners an ability to fund the needed improvements to comply with laws.
Yeah.
So
Give them time to
so-
get there.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's one of the big things that I see it being a benefit. And historically, in a lot of areas, CPACE isn't a super hot commodity. It's really underutilized in a lot of areas. And so this would give it a better chance of being a utilized tool.
And on the back page 4 of what I've got here, it talks about how the retrofits, it seems to imply that you can use it for buildings that don't meet current codes, because you get low about current codes that can retrofit them for things of insulation, or water conservation, or things like that. Have I got that right?
So new construction and retrofit, yeah.
Councilor Tigan has a question. I was wondering, does he have?
Yeah. I said it.
Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Council.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think my hand, when I raise it, it's like in surround sound. There's like so many screens in that room. Dana, I'm wondering if you can just sort of dumb it down for me a little bit in terms of kind of describe the relationship. If you're a building owner and you want to do one of these qualified projects, it kind of seems like there's a pot of money somewhere. I'm not clear from how you described it, who oversees that pot of money, the role of a lender, and the role of the city. It kind of seems like there's a 4-party dance here. And if I was to talk to a building owner about how this would benefit them, I'd need to be able to describe that relationship. And I'm not sure I can. So I'm curious if you can try to really simplify who the parties are on the way to one of these projects being adopted, and then what the role of the city is in that. And like, I understand there's a lien and things like that, but I don't have a full grasp of the individual parties and the roles that they play.
Sure, so the funding is, like, if you were to go to the bank, say any bank, and you wanted to get a mortgage, and they're gonna give you money from funding pools, right? This is one of those funding pools, so the funder is, and all we need to worry about is going to the bank, right? So it's the same thing, we're not finding.
There's
the
not a pot
funder.
of government money. You're just saying private capital funds this sort of work.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly, yeah, so private capital that is willing to fund, so wants to invest into this work. And the capital providers have the authority to do these lending. So a developer would go to the capital provider, and there's a handful of them, multiple handfuls of them. There's a way to become a certified capital provider if someone locally wanted to. We have several very specific CPACE capital providers out there that do a lot of them. They're very, very knowledgeable. And they kind of package the whole deal based on the state and the municipality's requirements, and they bring that to the administrator of the program, which will be in the UD department. And we will check through the list of, okay, did you get all the things that you needed to submit? And then when they were ready to fund, we would do the lien, and then they would give the funds, it'd be in closing, they would close it. So it's really three parties to make this happen. The capital provider we'd expect them to do the certifications for the efficiencies, so they would hire the consultants to make sure that the project was doing the priorities of the program. So there's not, we're not also hiring a consultant. And we get, in the project, we do get a fee to administer the program. So that's, it's not a huge amount of money, but I think it'll probably work for the amount of work that we have to do.
So I guess, and I feel like I knew this before, and now it's escaped my mind, and maybe it was the break in December, and if that's the case, I apologize. I don't understand the benefit to the property owner. I mean, if someone wanted to add solar to their roofs, they could go and get that money from a lender and just do that, and then charge their tenants more money to pay for it. So why is the city getting involved through this CPACE program, putting a lien on the building? To Juliana's point about retrofitting these old buildings, something's missing here. I don't understand what's the value of the program other than just we sign off on it. Is there a funding mechanism I'm missing? What's the benefit?
Well, it is access to capital. So, I mean, especially right now, we have commercial projects that are not getting funded. And so having another place where people are willing to fund is helping create, we are having developers request the program, and they cannot utilize it in the city of Salem. So there is that. And I think a lot of it has to do with it can go up to 100% of financing. That's a thing. It also is can be amortized over 30 years. And it ends up being a tax bill, even though it's not a tax, right? And so they're paying it at the end of each year. They have to pay their assessment. So it's just another access to funding that people don't have otherwise. So, could it be that we end up not having a rush to it? Yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but if we don't have the tool, even those who want it can't use it. So I think that's kind of where we're being asked to, fill that gap.
And then I think Counselor Nation had a question.
Yes, so this was in part when you came and presented to council about retrofitting for seismic. And I was like, hey, can you help me with my house? That was for commercial only and same program.
This is the program.
And I also recognize that you're also saying that if someone decides to utilize this capital, that they will pay because they don't have the money up front. It also states that a future purchaser cannot remove it.
Oh, stay, yeah.
So I don't know how that may impact somebody's ability to sell or another person's ability to buy a property, because they would be taking on this lien in addition. So I just wanted to make that clear.
We can't accelerate the payment. A buyer can pay it off. So it is possible for them to pay it off. But the program, the capital provider cannot say, you gotta pay it all now, or it's all due now. They can't do that. It just goes with the sale of the property as a part of the the required funding.
So someone in this capacity to look at this loan has to also determine if that, whatever they're going to do, will benefit in the sale of their property.
Yeah.
And if they can benefit enough saving energy ahead of time, they could pay it off sooner. But as a developer, one would need to look at the benefits or the
Yes.
risks.
Yep, absolutely.
So just to be clear, it's not actually free money, it's just access to a loan.
Yeah.
That, but is it a loan with more preferable rates?
That's the capital provider does all of the negotiations. of the
Okay.
rate. So it's not,
Certainly,
certainly the term
yeah.
is most, but I don't know what their interest rates are based on their funding.
Yeah, and I'm sure whatever interest rate they decide is ultimately, even if maybe it is a discount, but it's still a discount off of whatever the prevailing
Yes.
Yeah.
rates are,
Oh,
which
yeah.
will be above our ability to
Yeah.
touch, so, okay.
So the city has no impact, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just went ahead and continued on. No impact on decreasing that rate.
Nope.
And we're just kind of we're just sort of the navigator through somebody's process of getting,
Right, we're just allowing them to use it if they want it.
okay.
And the other part to this, if I can jump in real quick. It's a very secure loan because of it's kind of like a lien on the property. So it's a very secure loan. It can go for these long terms, which makes it more viable for large scale building envelope HVAC projects. And so it's secure capital, it's long-term financing, and then it can do a community beneficial project.
Yeah, sure, like if you have 30 years to pay it off instead of 15, it's not gonna hurt your cash flows as bad.
And then one other point that I wanted to, the second page of the document, it talks about other programs. And we have the benefit of having some of our residents being in Energy Trust of Oregon, area, and they can benefit from those projects. However, Salem Electric has less access to some of the capital that Energy Trust of Oregon can provide. So it can help areas that don't have other access to incentive programs like Energy Trust of Oregon. But it can also be coupled with some of those projects. So it can make a little bit of financing go a really long way.
I know we're not even in the outreach phase yet, but, I attend the Latino Business Alliance meetings from time to time. This strikes me as a perfect subject to bring up. We have a lot of Latino-owned businesses throughout the city and, I would just encourage us, make sure we have fully bilingual materials and a bilingual speaker, to let our businesses know because, if they're a member of the Chamber of Commerce, they're gonna get a lot of information from the chamber, but we have a lot of businesses who cannot afford membership at a group like that. And so I would really encourage us to make sure that we have examples, also. And I want to back up and say for all speakers, whether you're an English native speaker or not, I think having really clear examples of like, this is how it can actually work. Like, let's say you want to put solar on your building. Here, let's walk through a hypothetical scenario for how this would work and how much it would cost you. Because to Paul's point, the business owner is going to want to know immediately, how much is this going to cost me? Is there a solid return on investment? Getting them off the bench and into the game, so to speak. So I just think sometimes I think our city code could really use more of like an IKEA instruction manual approach. Yeah,
And provide all the tools.
right, all the tools, yeah. Right, well, I mean, no, seriously, I mean, pictures and arrows and flow charts, I think those things can really help people digest what this means. Because if you're running a business or any of the other qualifying entities here, I'm like, well, this sounds kind of nice, but my head is already spinning, like, how much would this cost me? And who are these providers? And what would my interest rate be? And it's not the city's, you can't answer all those questions, I get that. But yeah, I'm just trying to think as a roadmap, how you would communicate this clearly to very, very busy people.
Yeah.
And I see Paul's hand raised.
Oh, go ahead, Paul, and then I'll ask my question. I guess I'm saying, hey, go ahead, Paul, and I'm not sure.
Thank you.
She's
Well,
on the team here.
I think just to follow that point, and I'm really just still trying to ground my own understanding here, and following the money is usually a good place to start, I suppose. The building owner borrows the money from the approved lender. The lender pays for the improvements at the outset. Who does the building owner then pay? My understanding from other reading that I've done and kind of jogging my memory as we go is that then the building owner pays a tax assessment on their property tax, and that property tax gets essentially funneled through the collection agency and to the agency that's doing the tax collection, and then that's paid to the lender. Is that your understanding of how it works as well, that the payment for these improvements actually comes to the building owner as a form of tax assessment?
It is a lien on the, it's a municipal lien. I don't actually, that's a really good question. I actually don't know if they pay the provider or they pay the tax assessor. My understanding is they pay the provider and the provider tells us if they're not getting paid. But that's a really good flag. I will check in with that one. Yeah, I believe they're not actually paid. It's not paid through the tax assessor. So making sure that the provider, the capital provider gets the money.
And maybe it's just my experience in the last 48 hours of getting ready for our budget meeting tonight that there's a certain amount of sensitivity in the community about the perceived rate of property taxation going up. And so if it is the case that these projects are landing on people's tax bills, and that's essentially how the financing is guaranteed to the lender and why they give a favorable rate, and that they're tied to the property and not necessarily the individual. It'd be really important that those sorts of considerations are part of the calculation when we say, well, how much did our property tax increase last year? And we do 10 of these projects, they're very big, and they perceive, people perceive the property tax rates are going up when really building improvement is happening, not property taxes are increasing.
Yeah. That's a good flag. I will dig into that.
Tanisha has a question. Great. To piggyback on that, Counselor Tigan, I also question whether or not that would cause somebody's property to become in compression. Because we have to always be mindful of that. If this is the tax, then are they in compression? And how is that fair when we're analyzing other bonds and levies and things?
Well, it's my understanding that it's not actually a tax, it's a loan repayment, but it would be on the tax bill.
Yeah, so that's what we need clarity on. So
Okay.
it's on the tax bill, and
Yeah.
how does that impact that overall tax bill and compression? So excellent point. I also would like to just also understand a little bit to how this may impact people who are purchased historic buildings and have to have a lot of restrictions on what kind of windows can they put in. They may want to, would some of those restrictions that would typically be there because we're trying to work for a climate action plan then be removed? So,
Suspect not.
yeah, I suspect not too, but how does that blend with any historic buildings? I'm just, again, some of the things that they would want to do.
They might be able to do like a solarizing window
Oh, yeah.
tint. I know that that's not the correct word, but something like a sticker basically over the
Film.
film.
There
Thank
you go.
you.
But I don't know if that would meet the historic rules. And so I guess I'm just trying to understand what the potential risks are of interfacing historic buildings.
Yeah.
Because we are talking about older buildings and how would this program help that or potentially be a risky option?
The majority of ceiling work, and by ceiling, I mean SEAL, ceiling work is inside the walls. And so insulation, things like that, those don't
Yeah,
have.
so
Yeah.
there might be limitations
Yeah.
on historic buildings.
Yeah.
And I think that you'd need to have that clarity. So somebody that might want to apply for this, if it is a historic building, they need to understand their limitations.
Would it apply to historic buildings that aren't commercial though?
It has to be commercial.
So it depends how that building's being used.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of them are commercial. Stop asking my questions.
Very helpful.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, because these are all really good points, good questions, that would be nice to put into a, condense into a
Or,
two-page.
or really have a clear
information
guideline on what can be
flyer,
done.
so we have, because these are things that could pop up.
Yeah.
I mean, I see the advantage of providing an option that developers and property owners don't have at this point. My question is coordination with the county, since we're talking about the taxing entity. How does that work?
Yeah.
It's a question.
You know, so it's, there was conversation several years ago about bringing this to Salem. And the idea was the county, asking the county to be the administrator. They don't have the, staffing support at this point. There could be an issue, I mean, the desire would be that'd be better because it would be, you know, a bigger area.
Sure.
But it also, for Salem, we have two counties. And so we would have to address, you know, if we don't have Salem, then if one county said yes, the other didn't. So they could benefit for
that would-
so.
Sure.
So, I did actually, talk to, Multnomah, Marion County, and they have some interest in looking into it. They are not at the speed that there's a desire from our, community to have it be more available sooner. And so we really decided we're gonna move forward, and if there's a desire that, you know, the county wants to take it on, that's fine. But at this stage, we need to keep moving because they're not at this, they're not ready to make it available at this point.
And if we have a program and the county enacts a program, their program supersedes ours. So it would make our program void.
I see.
For that part,
Yeah.
for that county.
Yes, so like if it was Marion County that enacted it,
Yeah.
that part would, but we could still work in West Salem.
Have we heard any rumblings of whether they're doing a CPACE type program?
They're
You
not.
haven't heard anything or you know they're not?
I know they're not. They have not done it. So, and they have not moved it forward. So,
Okay.
if they change their mind, then that's great. But yeah, that's not happening right now.
Okay. I feel that more, you know, I mean, this is a more generalized statement, you know, sometimes when you see pieces of legislation proposed in legislature, there's a fiscal impact statement. That is just like a routine document that is included because legislators ask questions similar to what Councilor Nishioka said, like, how will this impact the tax burden? Obviously, property taxes are a huge source of revenue for the city. We depend on that to fund our police department, our fire department, our library, and all kinds of things. So, yeah, I mean, sussing out what the fiscal impact is for programs like this will anticipate questions from council.
Yeah, yeah. I believe that it does not, a
Yeah.
big impact, but that's, you know,
Yeah, I mean, I think to her point is that, you know, what if this does, you
The
know,
compression.
what's the bottom line impacting the property tax bills and how would that impact any of the taxing districts in the area? That's where perhaps there's a fiscal impact that
yeah,
can be
well,
made.
that would be
Yeah.
could be a significant impact if it really did. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, these are all really, really good questions.
And I think the one piece on the page that says the participation in rebate and incentive programs. Some municipalities do not actually have this as part of their program, where they, you know, it's not required, but they encourage people to look at other rebates and incentives. And I think that we would probably want to encourage people to it's not a I don't think it should be a requirement. I think that adds an extra hoop, but ensuring that people know that there are other programs available and just have it as part of our program documents makes sense to me that we would exclude it from the system. It's looking at the different examples. It was interesting that was one of the ones that was.
One of the ways that I've seen it done, so that it's not a requirement to get funding from or get project assistance from something else is just to be like, have you looked into these programs? And then just you check a box saying that you have. And so then it really is, you know, user's responsibility to look in if those are eligible programs for that project. And that would require minimum staffing to, like, you don't have to verify anything. They've checked the box. They said that they've
Yeah.
acknowledged that there's possible access.
They know it, they're aware of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we have a lot of questions. How should we move forward? I mean, I think we're gonna have a meeting next month. We're gonna talk about that. But I'm thinking if you wanna bring this to County Council in February, we're gonna have to have a chance as a climate action plan committee. I personally, I don't feel that I'm ready to put forward some recommendation or something right now, because there's so many unanswered questions. You know,
I think everyone had questions today, so yeah, perhaps, if you can get us some answers to what we discussed today, yeah. I mean, I've not seen a sense of urgency in bringing this to council right away under the circumstances anyway, but staff are doing what they should be doing, which is bringing it to us well in advance of that House bill taking effect in 2028, I think Juliana said. But yeah, so I mean, it takes time, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I think maybe getting more information would be helpful before we before I would feel comfortable. I can't speak for anyone else, before I would feel comfortable.
Would it help as a follow-up action if you could present, you know, question, somebody else mentioned a question and answer format based on the questions we had, so we can anticipate the questions that might come up for council
Yeah.
or again, this committee, and you've got them there, and then you can ask questions about the answers to the questions when it comes up.
I'm fine with that.
that would be helpful. That would. Counselor Tigan, do you have any additions, comments, anything you'd like to add on that?
No, I mean, I think as my understanding, the objective of the information item today was just what we did, suss up some questions that we think would probably come up at council and, you know, try to get ahead of the curve on those. And so, mission accomplished.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I
Okay.
mean,
Yeah, thank you all for your questions. Dana, what else is there anything else you need from us right now that you can think of?
Not that I can think of, but I know I can ask Juliana. She'll get me connected with you all, I think. I think we're good. I mean, I just want to make sure I get the right questions. Do you want to provide me of
Yeah.
a list of questions just so we can start that FAQ? And it'll help inform the program too, so. Yeah.
Sure.
So after we're done, I'll work on getting these ready for you. We'll start an FAQ document, and then we can present that document at the February CAP committee meeting for committee members review. And then if everyone's comfortable with that, Dana, do you want it to go advanced through to council as a CAP committee recommendation, or are you fine moving forward as currently proposed with the first reading, second reading, just to the council?
I think that's probably up to leadership. So I'll leave that to leadership to make a decision on whether we're gonna wait for a CAP approved, recommendation, or if we need to make sure we've done the due
Yeah.
diligence. So I'm not interested in like pushing this through until we know we feel comfortable with it. I do think that there is some, desire of urgency on some developers' side, but again, we still need to make sure it's a program that works for the city, so I pushed it back to the end of February. If it's March, it's fine. I mean, again,
Yeah.
I just want to keep it on the top of my list because it's easy to get pushed
No, for
underneath my list.
Sure.
So I don't want that. So yeah, if we're continuing to
Yeah.
work through it, I'm fine with that.
That sounds easier on our end. If that works for the counselors.
Sure, that does. So, let's see, 11:50. Since we're talking about a potential next meeting, I believe at our meeting back in December, we talked about February. I have in my notes here, third Mondays on even.
Yes, I have that. I just haven't sent everything out yet.
Okay. Okay,
So
I
it'll
just
be-
wasn't sure, do we have a date then? 'Cause I did-
Yes,
Okay,
February 17th. So that one's actually the Tuesday because the Monday is a holiday. So February 17th is our next meeting. And I'll be sending all that out shortly.
At 11 a.m. again?
No, it'll be normal time. 1 to 2:30.
thank you to 2:30. Okay, February 17th from 1 to 2:30. Here in this room, I'm assuming.
Are you gonna want me to participate for the FAQs? Or?
Probably, but that one could be easier if you wanted to be virtually.
Okay. Just locking my calendar. In case.
Okay, okay. And also next month, I believe, we need to talk about our annual report and the annual work plan, correct?
Yes, and so I'll be sending those out once they're finalized and approved, and hopefully I'll give you, I'm gonna shoot for 2 weeks, but it might be a week and a half for you all to review those ahead of the meeting.
Okay, okay. And is the annual report gonna be, I mean, similar to what we've done in the past? Okay. Okay, any questions from any committee members on anything?
Good.
I had a quick question. How is progress on the strategy dashboard going? I haven't visited it recently.
So it's still in phase 1. Part of the proposal in my next year's work plan is to add the phase 2, which would be aligning more of the emissions. So my proposal is to do a second emissions inventory. And so that would give the emissions data additionally to that dashboard. So that would be phase 2.
Okay. Okay, I'm just kind of curious. Oh,
I did have some questions, but I was reading through this, and so I got some of them answered from what was filtered, but I think like one of the questions I wrote was, where is it? I wrote it all over the place. Oh, like what classifies like a business as like a commercial business versus like a non-commercial business? Cause I work for Dutch Bros, but I'm like doing a private project through it, so I don't know if they would be. Cause the Dutch Bros I work for is through a franchise, not an operation, and so they've changed how that is, so I'm just like, that was just my curiosity there.
is interesting. I don't know. Yeah.
That's okay. More research for me to do.
Okay, okay.
That was it, yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks for your input. All right, well, if there isn't anything else, then I'm just gonna adjourn the meeting, so the meeting's adjourned, thank you.